Hi, welcome back. My name is Bhavna Dhaya. I am an emotional well-being coach, a psychic healer, and a spiritual mentor. So I wanted to share about what's happening in the next couple of weeks and share that with you. There is a shift that is taking place now. Again, whenever I share energy updates or whenever I talk about the predict or share about what is likely to happen in terms of movements, planetary movements, energetic movements, I do it from a line of sight of energy and intuition and the channel messages that I get. It is not astrology that I talk about. So I do not talk about specificities of planets. That's something you can always look back and look up and research. There is research that I do, which so that it can be made simple and you are able to connect with the different references that I'm making, as so to speak. So coming to the full moon today, I just finished the full moon meditation. Every month I do full moon and new moon meditations online, and these are meditations that are usually about 1 hour or 90 minutes. And what you experience is a meditation and also updates about energy shifts and channel messages that might be useful for you. And so, if you want to be part of the full moon or new moon meditations, you can reach out to me through my Instagram handle or email me, and I can share the details with you. Coming to the month of June, so some of you might have been experiencing the building up of the full moon, right? And especially over the last 3, 4 days, so some full moons are full on, right? This particular full moon has really been calling out to you to stand up for what, asking you, what do you believe in? Who are you, when you are not, so what is your lineage and what are you apart from your lineage, right? So the way that you might be experiencing this is that you might be feeling that people you trusted or people you knew are not real, they're not responding in the way that you would expect, right? Or that some of your relationships, and when I say relationships, it is not just romantic relationships, there could be professional relationships, seem to be disintegrating, or there must be something that is happening, right? So one when relationships shift, usually yes, it is about when you are spiritually, you are going in a different path. When you no longer serve each other, you might grow a distance and you might go apart, right? Because maybe you were there just for that 1 year, maybe you were there just for that one meeting, maybe you were there just to meet up in that professional context, right? And after that, you're not in touch with them, and that is absolutely okay. So many people had, came to me in the last and were talking about what's happening to them in the last couple of days as the run up to the full moon is people pushing boundaries, right? So either whether you're in the receiving end or you're the one who's pushing boundaries, uh, you are, you know, the old wounds are coming up. And because I do a lot of work with the feminine wounds and mother wounds and daughter wounds, those wounds would be coming up, right? They might be simmering. And if you come from a land or your lineage is where women were not treated right, particularly, that is true for most of the world or different parts of the world, but in particular parts of the world, it might have prolonged much more. So if there is a lot of hurt and there's been a lot of wrong done for women towards women, the wounds might run deep. And if you are on your spiritual path, the reason why you're on a spiritual path is not just for yourself but also for your ancestors and the land that you come from, right? So you might have been experiencing that the wounds coming up, whether in your interactions with your mother, whether in your interactions with somebody who is like a mother like figure, irrespective of their age. It could be your sister, it could also be your daughter. Sometimes the relationship between, as a mother, my relationship with my daughter may not be not be the way that I would like it to be. right? And but that's another topic. But that is also an example of where the feminine wounds need to be healed, right? Now, coming to what I'm going to be talking about, so all of that run up to the full moon that has happened, the energies are shifting. So we had today the full moon is in Sagittarian. Sagittarius sign is an expansive sign, right? It is an expansive sign of the zodiac. It wants to go out and meet people. It wants to have a lot of people around. It wants to socialize. It wants to talk to people. It wants more and more impact. It's expansive. It's larger than life. They love to have. If we look at people who are Sagittarians, usually they would like to have a larger impact of their life, right? And that's who they are. That's how they recognize. They come into a party and they want to be a life of the party, not from an ego perspective, because they want everybody to feel happy and the joy that they're feeling just being around people, right? So the full moon in Sagittarian is also talking about how can we be expansive in our life. It will be making you step out of your comfort zone. So, are you ready to step out of your comfort zone? Are you ready to become more expansive? And this is not something that would have happened today. It would have been coming to you in bits and pieces over the last couple of weeks or a couple of days, right? And how are you really becoming true to what your purpose in life is? Are you able to understand what that purpose of your life is? Are you moving towards that, right? And the other things that are the energy shifts that are taking place is we are being called to start moving towards a higher vibration, moving towards higher frequencies, right? Now, many times, higher frequency and higher vibration may not necessarily be the same, right? So when this huge shift of the earth is taking place, some people may understand it, some may not. People may go along with it, and some may not. But if you are listening to this video and these signs are coming to you, which means that you are part of that process to be able to work through how do you raise your own vibration, how do you start to look at what parts of your family, what parts of your ancestors can do you need to heal, because we are not just ourselves, we also are our lineage. So if you have a disconnect with your parents, if you have a disconnect with your ancestors, I would really ask you to look into that. Look at what is that disconnect, what is that relationship. It's not about, so when I'm saying that look into that and heal that, it does not mean that you talk to your parents every day, but uh, or that you have dinners and lunches with them every second, twice or thrice a week. What that means is that in your heart, no matter what your parents are doing, no matter what your extended family is doing, your energy is not being affected by it. Your energy field is not being affected by it, right? And there is also a sense of gratitude when we have healed those parts of ourselves. We may not be our family, and a lot more people are waking up, and a lot more people are moving towards to a more spiritual life, right? They might start with fitness, they might start with meditation or breath work, but they are moving towards a spiritual life uh, with their own path. And the reason for more and more number of people moving to a spiritual path is because we are reaching in the next couple of years, we are going through a huge shift of the earth's energy field. The last time that it happened was about 10,000 years ago. Some of the and not all of it, we do not have enough evidence in history, because what is history? History is essentially what is written by the ruler at that particular point of time. So previous references many times have been destroyed by rulers, or previous references of people before them have not been have not been completed, or they have been destroyed in fires or thrown away or teared apart, or the history has been rewritten, right? So we really would not know what true history of earth is, or earth's civilization is. So coming back to, so the last major shift happened around 10,000, 12,000 years ago. Um, and there is, and a lot of that might be spoken about through mythology. So when you have references of Atlantis, Lemuria, and you have references in Hindu mythology of the time where there was Satyug, or the sages were, were, a lot of them existed, and everything, even the king would bow down to the sages, right? It was not a practice that they are better than me, or I'm not a good human being, but because the sages were essentially people who channeled messages, who understood the elements of the universe, who understood what the alignment of the stars and what that meant for us on earth, was, they interpreted that. That is why they were seen as wise men, right? And so the Satyug, or the time of wisdom, or using our wisdom, is coming back again. We are being asked to raise our vibration. And when we are asked to raise our vibration, we have to start, we also have to heal, because we cannot be in a high vibration and not be healed. So the way that it'll happen over the next couple of days and weeks for you is that there might be arguments erupting, or there might be disagreements erupting in your family, amongst your especially anybody who is a parental figure, with your parents, or even your grandparents, or between your grandparents and your parents, right? There would be, some of you might feel disconnected with your lineage, and will feel that I don't resonate with my parents, I don't resonate with my family, because there is something that is being triggered in you to change the dynamic, right? You might also experience it in terms of, there would be signs given to you that you need to start working towards your purpose. Now, when I talk about purpose, or when we hear about purpose, generally people feel that it means a spiritual purpose, right? Or that I leave everything, and I have to meditate, and or I have to go to the cave, or I have to go to the Himalayas. That's not what the purpose is. The purpose is connected to spirituality, but it is your alignment of your spiritual self. When you start to live your purpose, it might come in the form of working, continuing to work in the corporate world, continuing to work, do your own business, continuing to do a partnership business, right? But the way that you do it, the decisions that you make, how are you making those business decisions? How are you creating those clients? How are the clients coming to you? That changes, right? And so you are, or the way that you're expressing your creativity. So it will happen to you in different ways. What so over the next couple of weeks, the three things I would advise you to do is, one, check your energy shift in the morning and in the evening. What thought do you rise up with, and what thought are you going back to bed with? If it is not a neutral one, then please do some rituals to make it neutral, if not positive. Second, work on your feminine wounds, whether it is mother wounds or it is other sister wounds. Third, work on your lineage, uh, work with your ancestors, whether it is through ancestral healing, or it is doing, whatever the puja that might be running in your family. Do that at least for 21 days, right? If you're doing ancestral healing, then there are different ways to do that. I also work with ancestors, so you can reach out to me and we can get into a call and understand what kind of ancestral healing is needed for you particularly, right? So three things. What is first? What is the thought that you wake up with? What is the thought that you come down with? Make sure it is neutral or positive. Second, please start healing your mother wounds. Please start healing your sister wounds or feminine wounds. Third, work with your ancestors, heal your ancestors, because we are being called to do that, right? In whatever shape and form. So those are the three things that I would ask you to do over the next couple of weeks till about mid of July. If there are any other questions that you have for me, let me know, and I would be happy to answer them. And look out for my updates on my Instagram handle. That's where all the updates happen, the latest updates of my workshops, of my programs. And yes, so lots of love to you and have a fabulous life.